whether the team is performing clean or unsightly. We'll cover it all here on Washington Football Nightly. I, of course, am your host, Louie T. Thank you for joining me. Let's get to tonight's lead story. So, the Washington football team are your 2020 NFC East champions. You already know that. Just had to remind you in case you forgot. It's been a couple of days, so I thought I'd let you know again. Anyway, the real lead story tonight, however, is Ron Rivera and the comments that he made. And he kind of made them in passing. They got a little bit of play. It's kind of circulating. I'm hearing people that don't really pay attention to these things telling me this, so I know that it's getting out there. And that's about the dual quarterback situation, potentially, substituting in and out quarterbacks in this game, maybe going into the game knowing that Alex may start, but he may have to close out with Taylor Heinicke. There's been much debate about what Washington should do heading into this game. Health will dictate what is being done. I'm just going to tell you this. And Ron, after saying it and then being bombarded with questions about it, kind of backtracked a bit and wanted to clarify, hey, look, guys, I'm not saying that I'm going to go into this thing with a college football approach. Like I was watching Oregon on, what was it, Saturday night. I think I saw a little bit of that game, and they got one guy in to start, then the next guy comes in and finishes up the first half, then the other guy comes back in the third quarter. It's all kinds of nonsense. And that's not what Ron is saying he's going to do, okay? But what he is saying is, like, we understand that, Alex started the game really well. And then he kind of fizzled out. And Alex admitted himself, kind of ran out of gas, And when I say ran out of gas, he ran out of strength in that calf muscle. It started to tighten up on him. Alex admitted it himself after the game. It got a little tight on me, but Alex wasn't coming out of that game. Unlike the San Francisco game where he knew he couldn't help the team, he said he felt like with no Dwayne behind him and essentially Taylor Heinicke having to come in. And look, this was for the division. This is my game. I started it. I'm going to finish this thing. I think that's what Alex was thinking in his head. I think Ron now looks at it like, okay, if Alex is healthy enough to go and he's playing well, we're just going to roll with Alex. But if Alex starts out well as he did against Philadelphia, but we start to see him be really, really compromised by the calf, he can't move, Tampa's starting to sense blood in the water, they're coming after him and he can't protect himself because he really couldn't protect himself. He was running away with no thought of throwing the football. Like, once he exited the pocket, there was never any thought given to, hey, maybe a guy's open down the field. The minute he'd vacated the pocket, it was to escape to throw the football away. Unless a target was literally 3 yards in front of him. He can't throw on the move with any accuracy nor power right now because he can't drive off of that calf. So he's compromised when he has to move. Philadelphia sensed it, and they started bringing pressure, and that's not even who they are defensively. So what I'm saying is Ron's acknowledging that, hey, we're going to go with Alex if he's healthy, and he didn't practice today, and we'll get into the injury report for both teams a little bit later on. But he's acknowledging, which is what he's already done several times. He did it after the game, immediately after the game. He did it on Monday, the day after the game, and he's doing it again on Tuesday, where he's saying, look, I acknowledge that Alex did not play well for 4 quarters. There were moments, and there was that opening drive of the game. I went back and I watched the film, and that film breakdown should be up on Patreon at some point tonight. That first drive was beautiful. Now, there were some opportunities I thought that Alex could have taken, but look, he converted on every single third down on that drive. I thought the halftime drive was even better, even though he did miss Cam Sims open for a touchdown. He came back and threw a 50-50 ball, a great 50-50 ball to Logan Thomas. Defender's back is shown. I can see his nameplate. That means my guy's open. I'm going to give him a chance. Logan Thomas made a hell of a play. That was a hell of a drive by Alex. We needed that drive. We were down. After starting the game off 10-0, we were down 14-10. We needed that drive, and we got it. So those were 2 big drives in the game from Alex. But outside of that, he wasn't all that great in this game. Okay? So I think Ron acknowledges that there may have to be a move made at some point during the game, and they need to be prepared. And the thing I love is, Taylor Heineke is going to get all the reps more likely than not this week. He's going to get a bulk of them. He may not get all of them. And they're starting practice a day early because the game is on Saturday. So practice started on Tuesday instead of our normal Wednesday practice start for the week. But I think we're going to see, Taylor Heineke getting reps all the way up until probably Thursday. Thursday may be the first time. And Thursday is like the normal Friday for us, because there's an extra day of practice this week, because there's one less day to prepare, because the game's on Saturday, not Sunday. Thursday is in effect this week's Friday, and I think that'll be the first time you actually see Alex maybe taking a full day's work, or even on a limited basis. But what I'm trying to convey to you is that Taylor Heineke is going to be taking the bulk of the reps, and that's a good thing. He needs work in practice because I think he's going to have to play on Saturday. I really believe in some form or fashion, number 4 is going to ultimately have to come into the game. How he performs, we'll see, but I think in some form or fashion, he's going to have to help. If we win the game, I'm not saying that he'll have to play if we win, but if we score more than 24, he's going to have to play. I don't see Alex, unless the defense does what they did against San Francisco and the offense is able to contribute 2 touchdowns of their own, which they weren't able to do against San Francisco. The defense literally contributed all of the touchdowns, and then the offense helped put up some field goals. So we'll get into that as far as points are concerned and what this game needs to look like for us to win later on in the week. But, the big story of today was the talk about the quarterback position. And that was the elephant in the room yesterday. We addressed it. We're going to continue to talk about it. It's going to be one of the biggest topics of the week for us because let's be frank. Let's be candid. It's going to be tough for us to be a real threat in these playoffs because of our quarterback position. It's a limitation. And after the Pittsburgh game, it felt like maybe we don't have any limitations. If Alex can give us this, like he did against the Steelers, we're going to have a shot to win just about every game left on the schedule. That's how we felt. And then the injury sustained in that, I think he hurt it in that Steelers game, carried over into that 49ers game, and he wasn't all there, and he ended up not playing the second half of that game. And it kind of just lingered, and we struggled without him. We lost games. He comes back. And Rivera pointed this out. As a matter of fact, let's go into in other news. I want to start with Rivera's presser. We'll get to the injury report here in a second. But he talked about Alex. And this is something that you can't discount and dismiss. And a lot of you who don't think Alex can help us and think that we got to go to Taylor Heineke, you need to keep one thing in mind. All right. We've won one game this season that has been started by anyone other than Alex Smith. Just keep that in mind. One game we've won this season, started by Kyle Allen against Dallas the first time around, right before the bye, is the only game that we've won this season not started by Alex Smith. Alex Smith has made 6 starts this year. The only one he hasn't won, Detroit, on the road. Other than that, he started 5 other games. We've won all 5 of those games. Home for Cincinnati. At Dallas, at Pittsburgh, at San Francisco, at Philadelphia. Okay? So, we've won 4 games in a row on the road. All starts by Alex Smith. 5 in a row started by Alex Smith, including the game at home versus Cincinnati. Just keep that in mind. For all of you that want to start Taylor Heineke, I'm not saying, I'm just saying. When Alex Smith starts, we win. I'm not saying that's going to be every single week. I'm not saying that if Alex had started against Carolina or Seattle, we would have won those games. But I'm not saying. I'm just saying. Even if Alex is just motivation for the fellas, just to go out there, play the first quarter and a half, give us what he's got, keeps us in the game, but then he can't give us any more. Maybe that'll be enough. Maybe him just starting gives us the boost that we need to have a chance to win. If Alex is healthy, and I've told you this before, I want him starting. Period. End of discussion. I see the limited mobility. I understand all of that. If he's healthy enough to start, I want him out there. And once you get, and this is where Ron has to step in, once you get the first inkling that this guy is compromised and he's not what he was when the game started, that's when you got to make the move. Ron's been apprehensive this season to do it. He didn't do it when Dwayne was struggling against Carolina. He may have been able to salvage that game had he gone to Taylor Heineke earlier. I thought that Ron probably should have pulled the plug on Alex on Sunday when he realized that Alex was struggling to get around. But he stuck with him. We won the game. But had Philadelphia stayed with Jalen Hurts, maybe it would not have been enough. I'm not saying I felt like we were going to win anyway. I don't care if Hurts would have stayed in or came out. It doesn't matter to me. I think we would have won anyway. Hurts, contrary to popular belief, Jalen Hurts was not playing well. Just so everybody is aware of that. Go look at his numbers. You watch the game. The only thing that he was doing well was he was hurting us with his ability to extend plays. And that's big. I don't want to discount that. But they had 14 points in 3 quarters that he was in. Anyway, I digress. Bottom line is, Ron talked about a number of different topics. We'll come back to those. I want to get to the injury report for today and take a look at what these two teams have going into Saturday. Not much for either team, really. I think it's going to be a relatively clean game from an injury standpoint. Let's take a look and see what these teams are dealing with coming into a wild card weekend. As you look at Washington, non-injury related with Jonathan Allen. We saw that same thing last week. He's perfectly fine and he'll be ready to go come Saturday. No worries there. Thomas Davis, he's done. You won't see him again. His knee is on the injury report, but like I said, the minute we signed Michael Kendricks, he was done. He can't run anymore. He can't help. Antonio Gibson, toe, Terry McLaurin, and Alex Smith. Let's go ahead and put them as a package deal because every single one of those guys are going to be out of practice for the mass majority of this week. All right. You may see Gibson be limited on, he may even be limited tomorrow. More likely than not, Gibson won't be limited until Thursday. And then he might be a full participant on Friday, or he might be limited on Friday as well. Same with Terry and Alex. Ron made it really clear yesterday that if Terry can give us what he gave us last week, pretty much not practicing the whole week, then that's what they're going to do again this week. They trust that Terry can get everything that he needs to get done from a treatment standpoint and still be able to digest the playbook or the game plan and come out and execute. So if he doesn't need to put any wear and tear on that ankle, they're not going to. Same with Antonio Gibson's toe. So don't expect to see them out there. Just know that they're playing. If they played in week 17 and they're not any worse for the wear, and I don't think they are, haven't heard anything contrary to that, then just understand that those guys are playing. So Alex, I expect to play. Terry, I expect to play. And Antonio, I expect to play. Until I hear something differently, all of those guys are going to play, and they're going to be limited all week long in practice, if not non-participants, which is fine by me. I need them on Saturday. I don't need them Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, nor Friday. So I trust all 3 of those guys to be able to not practice and come in and play and give us some quality snaps. They all did it on Sunday night. I surmise that they can do it again on Saturday night. Kevin Pierre-Louis, limited. That's good news. I want him back this week. I think he gives us something at the linebacker position. Sometimes you don't know what you've got until it's gone. You don't know what you're missing until it's no longer there. I miss KPL. I do. Miss his speed out there. I'd like to see him back in the lineup. So it'd be nice if KPL could be back this week. Brandon Sheriff's shoulder, that's a new injury that didn't exist in previous weeks. Limited, trust me. When I tell you, these offensive linemen, they're tough as nails. Wes Schweitzer, a couple of weeks ago, was on 2 straight weeks with his hip. He played, and I told you he was. Morgan Moses has been on the injury report in and out all season long, and hasn't missed a game. Brandon Sheriff is a warrior, just like the rest of those guys. Yeah, he's got a shoulder, maybe limited. Trust me, he's going to play on Saturday. So no worries there. This looks good. If you're a Washington fan, this injury report looks good because there isn't a single guy up here that I'm worried about not playing that I care about. Again, Thomas Davis, not going to play, not concerned about him. would prefer him to not play, actually. Everybody else that's on his injury report, in some shape, way, or form, in some capacity, I expect them to be able to contribute on Saturday night. So that's good from our standpoint. And I was anxious to see if J.D. McKissick would be on this report, if Logan Thomas would be on this report. We talked about it yesterday. Neither one of those guys are here. That's music to my and should be every single one of your ears out there as well. Let's get to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers side of things. And again, it's really encouraging for them as well. I don't think any of these guys are going to miss the game. If they want them to play, they're going to play. Carlton Davis with a groin. I don't know the severity of that groin injury. I don't know when it occurred. He could be similar to Terry and Antonio with the toe, where he's been dealing with the groin, but he's been playing, or he's been dealing with the groin, and this is the third week, and they feel confident that he'll be able to play this week. I'm not aware, but he's got a groin. It's not easy to have a groin as a corner, but we'll see. And Mike Evans, we all saw the knee injury. He hyperextended it. No structural damage. He's going to be just fine. He's not going to be 100%, but much like Terry, he's going to play. Expect Mike Evans to play. And did we not expect him to play? I mean, I think all of us expected him to be out there. He's going to be out there, and he's going to be a problem. 100%, which he's not going to be. 80%, which he might be. 70%. Whatever the case may be, he's a problem that we're going to have to deal with. Jeremiah Ledbetter, he's dealing with a calf injury. Okay. I mean, I don't think he's a massive contributor on that team. Similar to Thomas Davis on our side, if he doesn't play, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. LaShawn McCoy, running back, non-injury. Again, just a veteran, getting rest. Whether they decide to use him or not, there have been times where he's been a healthy scratch. We'll see. If they want him to play, he'll be available. Jason Pierre-Paul, knee, didn't practice. He's a veteran. He's going to be fine. He's going to play. If I had to guess, it's soreness, nothing major. If the game were today, he'd be playing. So expect JPP, who's been a Washington killer over the years, to play. And Ronald Jones dealing with a finger injury, full participant. If he's a full participant on Tuesday, you can pretty much take him off the injury report right now. So they're going to be pretty much at full strength. We're going to be pretty much at full strength. And again, not everybody's going to be 100%, but you're going to have all of your guns fully locked, stocked, and loaded and ready to go. And we'll see who wins this football game. But I'm glad. I want them at their best. I want us to have our guys out there. I don't want any excuses. That's the last thing I want. I want everybody feeling like they've got their full stock of items ready to go. So Ron talked about a few more things during the presser. Again, talked about the whole underdog narrative and using that. Talked about Tom Brady and says, hey, look, the guy doesn't look like he's 43. I thought he was 23 with the way he's throwing the football. I must admit, I was wrong about Tom Brady's arm. I thought there would be some arm fatigue by this point of the season. I thought that the arm was starting to, really, digress. And I really thought I saw some regression from his arm strength last season. Well, I don't know what he did at TB12. I don't know what him and Gutierrez are doing or whatever his damn name is, but he looks good to me this year. He's throwing the hell out of the football now. Is he always accurate? No. And can you rattle his cage? You're damn right. But as far as him being able to chuck it 45, 50 yards in the air on the money, yeah, he's still capable of doing that. So we got our hands full. And, I just want to add this too. Bruce Arians, you knew this was going to make its rounds of Chase Young saying what he said, and the audio was clear as day. And you knew that it was going to make its way to Tampa Bay. And that's why I wish he wouldn't have said it. But I said, look, he's our captain. And if he's going to say that, I don't agree with it. I wish he wouldn't have done it. Be careful what you wish for. All of that good jazz. But let's get in and ride. If the captains if he wants to ride, let's get inside and ride. Okay? Let's go pillage and plunder the ship. Let's find Tom and bring his ass out. Let's drag his ass out. And let's deal with him. If the captain says, let's go get us some time, let's go get us some time. Well, Bruce Arians has said, look, we know what the young fella's over there doing. We saw his 7.5 sacks. We see him coming on strong right now. We know we got our hands full, but be careful what you wish for. Let the games begin. and with that blow, let the games begin. Touche. I'm looking forward to it, man. I can't lie to you. I am excited. this is going to be fun. And as I've said already, we got a week to be able to digest all of this, to take it all in, to follow this team all week, to see, what the status is of the quarterback position and what we feel like we're going to get out of Terry and this guy and that guy, to talk strategy. We got all week to do that, and we're going to do that on this show. And we'll be live on Thursday night. Being that there's no Thursday night football game, we can now push the live show back to its original spot, which is Thursday night. And so I'll be live all over the place. I'm going to be doing my man Protect Sports show tonight live on his channel. I'll be doing DMV Sports Zone's channel on Wednesday. So I'll be all over the map, and then I'll be live myself on Thursday night. So you guys be looking out for that. I'll be promoting those things, and just make sure you're keeping tabs of your social media accounts at LouieTeeNetwork on Twitter. You're already following me if you're watching this, more likely than not, on YouTube. If you're not, what are you waiting on? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and make sure that you're subbed up, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing as well. And hit that like button too if you haven't already done so. I'm really looking forward to chopping it up with these various Washington football team content creators, man. There's so many of them out there. We're growing in numbers, and it's fun to watch. And I remember the journey when I first started. I got a long way to go, as I've talked about already. I'm far from at the apex of where I can get to, but I know how this journey is, and I love supporting these guys, and I hope you are supporting them as well. You're not going to always agree with what we say, and I'm not looking for you to always agree with what I say. As a matter of fact, it's good when you don't agree sometimes, and we can have that healthy dialogue. As long as you keep it respectful, I don't mind chopping it up with you, even if we don't agree. There's a lot of people that don't agree with the approach that I have about this team taking the Seattle Seahawks early 20-teens approach of build up the roster and then find a quarterback and drop them in. That's the way I view this football team. We've built the infrastructure. We've got the foundation. We've got the defense. We need a couple of parts here and there. We got the offense. We need a couple of pieces here and there. They just re-signed Chase Roulier. Good for him. 4 out of the 5 offensive linemen, this was brought up in Ron Rivera's press conference today, that 4 out of the 5 offensive linemen are under contract until the year 2022. So for at least the next 2 seasons, you've got all your guys on the offensive line building continuity with one another if you should decide to go that route. But the one guy is a massive guy, and that's Brandon Sheriff. And are they going to bring him back? That's a discussion for another day, but it's a real discussion that we have to have because it's going to cost us a hell of a lot of money. And you got to understand, and I was having a conversation with one of my buddies, and he's a Raiders fan, and they didn't re-sign Khalil Mack. Why? Because they spent a bunch of money before it was time to re-sign Khalil Mack, and they had to pay for it dearly. I'm not saying, I'm just saying, understand that we've got these guys staggered. It's going to be Jonathan Allen first, and then it's going to be Daron Payne next, and then it's going to be Montez Sweat, and then it's going to be Chase Young. But at some point, you're going to have to sign all of these guys. Maybe one of them isn't going to be back. I don't know how you're going to make that determination, but you got to put yourself in a position, and that's why I don't think going after a veteran like Stafford is a good idea. Going after Dak Prescott in the offseason is a good idea because you need your money to be allocated in other places to re-sign the guys that you want to keep here. You need, this isn't like re-signing Cameron Curl when his deal is up, or re-signing, DeShazer Everett if they want to keep him, or even Cole Holcomb for that matter. It's not going to be one of those deals. If you're re-signing, Chase Young, if you're re-signing, and you'll be able to re-sign, Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen, and it shouldn't hurt you that bad. But when you're talking defensive end, that you're talking left tackle quarterback money now, receiver money. It's up there. So if you're going to re-sign Montez Sweat and Chase Young, I don't know if you're going to be able to do both of them. Like the 49ers, they couldn't do both of their interior defensive tackles. They had to pick one and trade the other. I don't know what we're going to decide to do, and it's a ways off. I don't want to scare you, but it's something to think about. That's going to be buku money. I'm talking about you're going to have to spend over $100 million to sign both of those guys a piece if they continue to trend in the direction that they're going. Montez had 9 sacks this year. He led our team. Chase had 7.5. We think they're only going to get better. Most likely, both of these guys are double-digit sack getters if they're healthy next year. You're going to have to break the bank to pay both of them. You're not in a position to go out and get a veteran quarterback. Again, another discussion for another day. I'm just laying the foundation. Just so you know. So, again, this is imperative that we get a young quarterback on a rookie deal so that we can re-sign all of these guys and we can allocate our resources in the right places. But again, another discussion for another day. Celebrate! The Washington football team are your 2020 NFC East champions. Sounds good, doesn't it? Yes. Yes, it does. And with that, I'm going to glide to the side and allow you guys to enjoy the rest of your night. I thank you guys for joining me. If you haven't already done so, we're waiting on subscribe to the LouieTeeNetwork for more great content. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And also, hit that like button if you haven't already done so. I really appreciate you guys. I'm your man, Louie T, and this has been Washington Football Nightly. I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel. There's the snap, hand to Riggins. Good hole. He's got the first down to the 40. He's gone. The 35, the 30, the 20. He's gone.